خلاص اوكي بعدين.
لا محمد مو فكرة.
قال الدكتور لا اذا هذا ما يبين. يقول الدكتور يدفعهم
ولا
يعني فقط تداول بالانجليزي
كروتين.
لا خلاص بحسن.
كروتين.
قويت اودي بالانجليزي.
جواد جاسم أبي حسن دانا جاسم
كروتين.
جواد جعفر ياش فاضل فاطمة علي أبرا محمد
ما يمزح.
محمد فالح الله يوسف
جوال موجود.
مريم محمد سيد علي
نعم.
سلام محمد طاهر سيد هاشم زينب أحمد زينب علي
أقول لك لو جوال
Okay. Going to the topic of volume studies, and we are discussing network studies now. Okay. Still on the first type, which is limited network studies, and we have seen three examples for the same network, in which the total count is found in different ways. We have used adjustment factors and expansion factors. Okay. This is now a new network. We have 10 locations now. Okay. One of them is A, and as we have seen previously, when they code a location differently, it means normally a control count. Okay. And the others are coverage counts. Okay. What is the aim here? Aim is to find out 12-hour count on all these locations. Okay. On all the 10 locations, we need 12-hour count. Okay. One of them is control, the others are coverage. Okay. So what is the difference between control and coverage?
We have 1 hour for only time for one location coverage, and the control one will be for all.
Yeah. So the full 12-hour count should be available for the control. Okay. And the coverage are part of those time. Okay. The first table on the top gives you the count for the control location. The other table gives the count for the coverage location. So you see, for the control locations, now there is a gap. Okay, you can see there is a gap of how many minutes?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, so there is a gap of 15 minutes. Okay, this gap is not because of the counting. Okay, we still need the full count. This gap is because there is a break. Okay, and the reason for the break is not the control count but the coverage counts. In the previous question they did not mention, but in this question they have mentioned they are using pneumatic road tubes. They are using sensors. Okay, and again they have two sets of sensors. One of them is here. Okay. So for the other 9 locations, I have only one set of sensors. Okay. So I have to shift it. I have to go from location 1 to 2 to 3 and so on. Okay. So this requires a break. Shifting the sensor requires a break. So since I require a break here, I have to make the counts similar. Okay. I have to make the counts in both cases similar. Okay. So since I need a 15-minute break here, it could be anything, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever they feel is enough for shifting. Okay, in this case it is 15 minutes. So those 15 minutes will be a gap for the control as well. There is no shifting here. Okay, so this gap is because of here. Okay. Okay. We have done this type of problem earlier as well. In the previous topics, wherever we have a gap, now we wanted the count without the gap, right? Okay, so the total will be how many hours? Sorry, total will be 4 hours. And right now it is how many? What is the time right now? We need for 4 hours, right? Huh? Which is 3.45? No? Why not? 7? Where is 7.5?
I mean, when we multiply it to convert 4 over 15. 4
Yeah.
over 3.75.
Yes.
4.
Okay. 3 minutes 45 minutes. 3 hours 45 minutes is 3.75. Okay. So right now we have 3.75. Okay. So if I pick one value, for example, any one value, all values are same, right? All values have the same gap. Okay. I can pick any value, it will remain the same. The procedure will remain the same. So for example, I put the first value, which is 3000, right? So 3000. I want, and this is taken for 3.75 hours. And want to convert it to how many? 4.
3,200.
Okay. The same will be repeated for all the values. No change. Okay. The same will be repeated for all the values. Clear? This is the first step. The second step is now all the values will be then 4 hours, right? Okay. Just give me the 4 hour values for the first table. Okay. Not the second one, just the first table. So I have the day, the time, and the volume. Each day I have 3 values, right? Eight to 12, 12 to 4, 4 to 8. Okay. The first one was 3,200. Next. 2987. 4. Okay. 3520. 3200. 469. 4.
4206.
67. Okay. 3840. 5438. 3. Okay, now for each day, 5,333. Okay, now we will do the total of each day. First of all, total of each day. Okay, how much for Monday? Total, huh? Total.
10563.
Okay, Tuesday. 11413. Okay, Wednesday.
3440.
Okay. Now we can do the average of the 3 days. Okay, how much is that?
شنو هذا؟ أول.
352. Huh? Average of the last 3 values. 11804. Okay. From these values, we will calculate. First of all, the last value which you calculated is the final result which we want for all locations. The last value which you have calculated is the final result which we want for all locations. This is only for location A. For the remaining 9 locations, we should have an average 12-hour count. This is average for 12 hours, right? So we need it for all the locations. Clear? Okay. From these values, I will calculate adjustment factors and expansion factors. Okay. Expansion factor for each 4 hour and adjustment factor for each day. Okay. For example, if you calculate it for the first 4 hours of Monday, okay, so you will do 3,200 upon total of the day. And how much is that? 1056. Yeah. But how much is it?
10 over 53.
Huh?
10 over 0.30.
10560. Okay, now 53.
Fraction.
Yes, how much?
0.30.
0.30. Okay, the same will be done for each value. Each value upon the total of that value. Yes. That's yes.
You can't escape. What? No, it's waiting now.
Why are you not pointing at me?
Dear colleagues, this lecture was staying. Okay? You will have to wait.
No problem.
Is it golden?
Still bit. Because
أقدر عندي إمكانية بس.
شنو؟
I can't okay, your book. This means that you have to finish now. Sorry. It includes the topics, not about.
I don't know what is
لا.
brief of the journal, then we will go.
Okay. توقف هنا. هذا كده دكتور.
استغيث
يلا السلام عليكم.
حياك الله.
Point to it. Point to it. Point to it. Point to it.
Okay, so much for the time I wanted to say. Okay. So this will be repeated for all the values. All value, each value divided by the total of that day. Okay, divided by the total of that day. Okay, these will become the expansion factors. Okay, for the adjustment factors, I'll take the average, the last value, and I'll divide by the count of the day. Okay, that day. Okay, for example, so it will be 11804 divided by 10560 for Monday. Okay, and how much is this? 1.12. The next one. Where is the machine?
He's doing that.
صالح عارف بالضحك. قول يا استاذ دكتور.
Okay, got it? This will be done for all 3 days. Okay, there. Now, going back to the other locations. Okay, going back to the other locations. The first step will be what?
Convert to
All of them will be divided by 3.75 and will be multiplied by 4. There is no change here. Okay, you just change these numbers and you will put in the same equation. Okay, now let's say, so this will become 4 hours. Each value will become 4 hours. Okay, I want to convert it from 4 hours to 12 hours and average, right?
Yes.
To 12 hours and average. Okay, I'll just show you for the first one. The first value is 1900, right? When you convert it to 4 hours, how much it becomes?
زي ما مشي. My 2026. تخيلت ان هي 2027.
2027. Okay, this becomes 4 hours. Okay, from 4 hours I have to convert it to 12. Okay, so I will divide by the expansion factor. Remember we calculated the first expansion factor, right? Which was 0.3. So divide by 0.3.
6757.
Yeah.
ما بتكتبوا من دي ايش يعني.
Okay, this factor. Clear? Then this becomes 12 hours of that day. But I want to convert it to average. So then I will multiply with the adjustment factor of that day. Okay, so which is 1.12. 756.
7567.
Okay, the same will be repeated for each 4 hours. Okay, the first step remains the same, but each 4 hours will have a different factor for division. Okay, and each day will have a different factor to multiply. Clear? Okay, this will be repeated for the entire table. Now, you can see here on top of the table they are saying it's counting what? Axle. We don't want axle count, we want the vehicles count. Okay, we want to count the, yes. Okay, we have to find out the how many axles per vehicle we have. Okay, we already did this in one of the previous topics as well. Okay, we need some data to do it. Okay, this is the data which is given with this example. Okay, this is a manual count. So on the same in the same network, they did a short manual count to find out how many vehicles of each axle count are passing. Okay, so how many vehicles with 2 axle count? 1100. How many vehicles with 3 axle count, and so on. Okay, from this table we calculate the axles per vehicle. Axles per vehicle. Okay, so I need number of axles and I need number of vehicles to find out the ratio. Okay, how many vehicles we have? This plus this plus this plus this. Total. How much?
127.
1, 2, 7, 6. This is number of vehicles. Okay. Now I need number of axes as well.
14.
Uh-huh.
14.
Why 14? We don't add. We don't add. Okay. We cannot add because we need number of axes in these vehicles. We need to multiply. Okay. So 1100 vehicles had 2 vehicles. 1100 into 2. 130 vehicles had 3 vehicles. So 130 into 3. And then you add. Okay, which is how much?
270.
ما يبغى له ذات السته.
استخدموا كالكوليتر حجي تبحك عن فرصة كذلك شيء.
It comes out to be how much? 2 point?
2780.
طلع لك مغير 2.170 2780.
Number of axes.
Okay, this is number of axes per vehicle. Okay, if all of them were cars, it will come out to be exactly 2, right? All of them are cars, this will come out to be exactly 2. But obviously we have big vehicles as well, so this is slightly over 2. Okay, so yes,
1276 is the summation of vehicle count.
S just the vehicle count.
Doctor, why would it be 2? Why should it be 2?
It would have been 2 if all vehicles were cars, because in all vehicles you have 2 axes. Okay, coming back here. So you got a number, right? You got a number. Okay, this is number of axes. This is not number of vehicles, this is number of axes. So now I will divide it with the number of axes to convert it to number of vehicles. Okay, so this number will be divided by your axle count. Oh, sorry, your axle ratio. So it comes out to be how much? 3, 4, 8, 7. This is now number of vehicles. Okay. So let me summarize what we did. First of all, we had a break. We converted all from 3.75 to 4. Okay. Using the first ratio. Then for every 4-hour count, we calculated an expansion factor, and for every day we calculated the adjustment factor. To calculate these things, you must do the total and average for the coverage, for the control count. Okay. To calculate these factors, I need the total and I need the average as well. Without them, it will not happen. Okay. So before you start calculating these factors, you must complete everything for the control count, the total and the average. Once you have these factors, then I go back to coverage locations. Each location, first of all, convert from 3.75 to 4. Then divide by expansion factor to convert to 12 hours. Then multiply by adjustment factor to convert to average. Doing this got us number of axes. We don't want number of axes, we want number of vehicles. So for that, there was a short count given, which was done manually, where they observed number of axes as well as number of vehicles. So they did the ratio to find out axes per vehicle. This ratio, each number will be divided by this ratio. Okay. Now this can be done at the start or at the end. There is no problem with that. So these are 2 different parallel sets. You can start from here. Do this and then convert every value to vehicles and then do the remaining steps. No problem. Okay? Clear? Any question? And these are the values, you can check it later on. Okay. Another thing which is calculated for a network is VMT or VKT. Okay, VMT or VKT. Vehicle miles traveled or vehicles kilometers traveled. Vehicle miles traveled or vehicle kilometers traveled. Okay. How do we calculate it? Number of vehicles multiplied by the length of the segment. Number of vehicles multiplied by the length of the segment. We did one example where the count was for 8 hours. We did this example where the count is for 4, the total was for how many hours? 12, right? Okay. So that means the BMT can also be for different number of hours. If I'm calculating, so these values are from the first example. So this is BMT for 8 hours. Okay. If I put 24-hour count here, then BMT becomes for 24 hours. Clear? Okay. The purpose of BMT or BKT, so you can see only the units are changing. BMT is in miles, BKT is in kilometers. Only the units are changing, but the concept is same. Okay. Take number of vehicles, multiply by the length. Okay. BMT tells you about the use of the highway. When BMT increases, that means the use of the highway is increasing. When the use is increasing, then the importance is also increasing. Okay, clear? So, in this case, it's a very simple case. For they already took the number from the first example, and they are saying every segment has the same length for some reason. I don't know who designed it. Likely somebody who designed all the segments with the same length. But this is what we have. So just multiply. You said you have the BMT for each segment, and then you can do the total as well. Okay. So in some cases, we are trying to compare between different segments. You can see the BMT of each segment, which one has higher use. And sometimes we are just trying to look at the overall demand. Okay, overall travel demand of the area. Okay, so BMT, then we can do the total and we can find out total BMT. Clear? Okay. Network volumes can be represented with a network flow map. So it's a map of the area. You can see the streets and the roads. Okay, and then you can see the streets width is changing, right? All the streets are not of the same width. Okay, this width is according to the volume. The actual width would be something else. Okay, so you see the big, the widest road is at the bottom, right? This road may not be actually the biggest one, but it has the highest volume, so it looks bigger. Okay, so a network flow map is scaled according to the volume. Volume increases, the road width increases. The volume decreases, the road width decreases. Okay, just to give a better representation of the demand. Okay, clear? So this is the difference between the actual street map and the network flow map. And we move on to the second type of network study, which is a statewide program. Okay, so state means anything which is under a political boundary. Okay, it could be a country, it could be a city. Okay, so the governments decide that this boundary is for this city, right? This boundary is for this governorate. This boundary is for this province. Okay, so in statewide program, everything under this boundary is part of our network. Okay, in limited network, we take a part which is around the facility. So we decide as civil engineers or as traffic engineers that this much part we will cover. There we don't have a choice. Okay, the boundary is already pre-planned and you just take whatever you have. Clear? Okay. So the word comes from the word state from United States. So they mean according to them, each state is like a province. Okay, a part of the country. Okay, but for smaller countries like Bahrain or Singapore, countries like this, it can mean the whole country as well. Okay, because we don't have so much difference. Okay, so what are we looking for in the statewide program? Statewide program, we are trying to find out AADT and ADT. What is AADT? Everybody knows, right? It will never be an exam. Okay, what is ADT? Average daily traffic. Okay, so what is the average of traffic over the whole year? And how this average changes within the year. So the overall average is 20,000. Okay, but in January, is it 20,000 more or less? Okay, so how the traffic is changing within the year. Okay, so we are trying to basically see the overall demand throughout the year and how the demand changes within the year. Two things. Okay, and we want it, like we said, for limited network, we are trying to cover all the segments. We are trying to cover all the segments. Okay, what is the segment here? I believe it was mentioned. There was a limit. Anyways, maybe it's on there. We are trying to cover all of them, all the segments. Before we do that, we start by finding out different types of the roads. So we establish or we fix what type of roads we have in our network, in our state, what type of roads we have. And then we label each road, this belongs to this type, this belongs to this type, this belongs to this type. Okay, so the first step is identification of the type of road. Okay, the first step. The next step is then for each road you would establish some points for control count and some points for coverage. Okay? First thing is identify the type. Then in each type, I told you earlier as well, you cannot mix. You cannot say, okay, my control count is here on arterial, but my coverage counts will be on local roads. And I will use them together. You cannot use them together. So each type must be taken separately. For each type, you will have separate set of control and coverage. Okay, and so on and so forth. Yeah. In limited network, I showed you the previous example, right? How many days was it? 3 days, right? 3 days. The study before, 3 days, 6 days, and the one day. So limited network studies have a fixed time period. And once the time period is finished, the study is finished. A statewide program is a government initiative. Okay? It's a government initiative. So they are doing it to find out the traffic demand, and they cannot say, we found it last year, now just relax for 5 years. They cannot do that. Okay? So the continuous monitoring is required for them. So there are two main differences, and there are others as well, but two main differences in statewide program and limited network. The first one is the area. Okay? Which one has a bigger area? Statewide. Okay. The other one is the time period. That is once, and this one is a continuous program. So it continues year by year. Okay? Like the other data which the government collects. Okay. So we said we are trying to cover all segments, right? Now some segments could be very long. Some segments could be very long, in kilometers. Okay? So they have given a limit that even if the segment is long, you will limit your segment of observation up to 2 miles. So after 2 miles, you will get another count. Okay, even if it's the same segment. Pardon? So every 2 mile segment should have a count. Every 2 mile segment should have a count. Except when the traffic demand is very low. How much is very low? Again, a value is given, 1,000 per hour, 1,000 per day. Okay, if a segment has demand less than 1,000 per day, it's considered very, very low, and you can take it out from the statewide program. We don't need to observe it every year. Maybe we will do it when it is required, but not in the continuous program. Okay. Then we have the ratio between control and coverage counts. Okay. For every control count, you can have up to 20 to 50 coverage locations or coverage counts. But I told you, you cannot mix between different types of highways. If your collectors have one control, the other 20 coverage should be for the collectors as well. Okay. You cannot do it for the other ones. Control counts for statewide program are of 3 types: major, minor, and permanent. Major, minor, permanent. Okay. Permanent means the count is taken with the sensor, and the sensor works throughout the year. We have full count every hour, every minute, 24/7. The full count is. Okay. Major is done every month, 1 week. Okay. Major control count is taken every month, 1 week. Okay. And minor is taken every 5 days in every season. Okay, and season doesn't mean no, it's still summer because I'm feeling hot. He's always feeling hot, right? So we don't
Not include me.
no, don't ask anybody. Okay, season means 3 to 4 months.
Oh.
Yeah. We have other people like that.
Almost.
Okay,
Always
so
right.
hard, so for some people always cold up. I have two like you at my home. One is 4 years, the other one is 5 years. First thing they do is turn on the AC. Okay. So, every season means 3 to 4 months, 5 days. Okay. Permanent is throughout. Major 1 week every month. Minor 5 days. Which 5 days? Any 5 days?
Weekday.
Then what?
Weekday.
Weekdays. Okay. Weekdays every 3-4 months. Okay. Then remaining is coverage. Anything which is less than that is considered coverage. Anything which is less than 5 days is considered coverage. Okay. So next time we will discuss how to use them and how to do the calculations.